Hello, this is Walter again, and we're going to be talking about a little bit different exercise today. We've shared several already in my other videos. This is episode 6. I'm just numbering them to maybe make it easier for people that haven't seen any of my videos or articles on my website, abilitytoadapt.com, and therefore it'll make it easier for them to follow things in a progressive order if they want to, or if they want to jump around, hey, that's okay too. The little scratching noises you're hearing are on my little roof here. Lizards get up there and crawl around, and then birds get up there and pecking at seeds and stuff. So we've been talking about bicycling and cycling uphill, but really any of those exercises I shared can be used for other purposes, for other sports, for athletes, for people that are into various forms of recreation, maybe canoeing or hiking and backpacking. They're excellent exercises for anybody who's an office dweller, because if you don't play sports at all, or only maybe one sport, and you're in an office all day, your body's not exposed to much variety in your life. And so, yeah, you want basic strength. You want the basic abilities of being able to squat, being able to hinge properly in the hips, and being able to press something overhead. But you also need to develop the ability to adapt your strength and your capabilities and your skill level to other things, and be able to transfer your strength developed maybe from deadlifts and from overhead pressing and from front squats or back squats, whatever the case may be. You want to be able to take that strength and adapt it to other things and the skill that you're developing, because otherwise, unless you're just competing in powerlifting or Olympic weightlifting, what use is all that strength? You know, whole purpose of it is to improve your life and be able to perform better in anything, whether it's an occupation, maybe you're a firefighter, maybe you're an EMT, maybe you're a law enforcement officer, and you're faced with various things where some of these exercises can really help you develop strength to be able to cope with your job better. And just be careful of how much you do of them, and don't push the weights too high too fast. Let your body adapt to the stressors that it's putting on you, because some of these exercises apply way more stress to your musculature and your ligaments and your tendons and stuff than the bilateral exercise like deadlifts. So approach them cautiously, but be aware that adding a little bit of variety like this can really boost your strength in unique ways. So that's why I'm sharing these exercises, not just for a cyclist who's trying to pedal up a hill, because if they're weak in their upper body, it can help them. And if you're a cyclist, don't be afraid of putting on a little bit of muscle, because a little bit more muscle gives you a potential for greater strength. Developing neurological strength has its limit. You get to a point that you can't get any stronger unless you have more muscle. And cyclists are not punished as much as a runner, because a runner is bearing the full weight of his body on every step, multiplied by how fast he's running. So it could be, 3 to 5 or 6 times his body weight coming down on each foot. But when you're a cyclist, you don't have that issue, so you can carry around more musculature more readily, and it can actually improve your ability to cycle. So if you're a cyclist, don't think that training with weights or some other form of resistance exercise or doing some of these exercises is going to make you get all big and bulky. A lot of it depends on what you're eating and how you're training, your sets and reps and your rest periods. So if you're doing low sets with low reps, you're not going to get huge and bulky, though your body will get more dense and the musculature, and you might gain a little bit of musculature, and my view is that's probably what you needed. So we're going to take a look at this exercise here. It's another one you can throw in your quiver or your toolbox, so to speak, and pull it out when you want to use it. One of the things to appreciate too about a lot of these exercises is they really are a disorderly setting. Most people go about their life in a routine fashion, and they do the same routine things every day. Someone who's a power lifter is doing the same routine. His body develops a skill in squatting and deadlifting and bench pressing. And so some of the other ways of training, like the West Side Barbell Club, they introduce more variety for that reason. It's kind of, sometimes it's same but different. Like something that's same but different would be doing deadlifts, doing snatch grip deadlifts with a wider grip than regular deadlift grip, or doing a sumo style deadlift compared to conventional. It's kind of same, but it's a little bit different. But a lot of the exercises I'm going to show you are launch even further into that disorderly setting area, because in real life you know, especially if you're someone who's active outdoors, you enjoy different forms of recreation, play different sports, um, or maybe it's because of your occupation. I've been in the blue collar field most of my life, so you get exposed to a lot of different things that you have to learn and do and adapt. And we're going to talk about that more as we go on, but training in different ways and adding a little bit of variety to your exercising can help you with boredom. It can help you continue to make progress. It can help you fill gaps, because everybody, no matter who they are, has gaps in their training, or holes that need to be filled, or weaknesses, maybe because of an old injury or whatever the case might be, or compensations they developed because they're more left-handed than right, or vice versa. And so if we can balance out some of these things, and they don't have to be 100% equal, but if we can get them a little closer than maybe, you know, 60-40, then it's going to help you be more powerful, and you're also going to be more athletic. So that's why I'm looking at these different exercises. I have a ton of different thoughts I'll be sharing with you as we go through this series, and at some point this is going to segue into a paid subscription site where I will offer way more detail on a lot of information with this, but I figured this free information can help a lot of people. So without further ado, let's take a look at this other exercise. I have to get outside my little dirt dungeon here and go out into the parking lot. It's going to be a lot louder out there, so I apologize for that, but there's really nothing I can do about it. So let's go from there. I'm going to put whiskey back down on the ground, and let's roll. Almost hit myself in the head with that. Okay, so we're going to take a look at this exercise. And I apologize for the traffic out here. It's like, it's ridiculous. I train in my backyard. I don't have much space back there. When I want to do bigger things like sled pushes or pulls or whatever, I have to come out here in our little parking lot area and do it out here. And the same with filming. If I don't have time to get out to the mountains, then that's what happens. My wife just had a tooth extraction a few days ago, and she thinks she's getting an infection. So pretty quick here, I got to run her to a doctor's appointment with her dentist to take a look at that. So anyway, so we were talking about this exercise, and I just called it an offset sled push, basically, because I'm not going to have an attachment point where I'm pushing from the center straight ahead, or two straps or whatever, or like a prowler. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to attach my toe strap that's attached to my tire. I'm going to attach my toe strap around this handle. It's not going to slip off. This is a handle from a Harbor Freight tire changer, so I'm kind of using it for something else. It's serving multi-purposes. So I'm just going to put the strap around here. It's attached to an eyelet, a big eye bolt that's screwed through a tire that I have that weighs 90 pounds. A tire many times can be harder to push or pull than a prowler because it's not metal, and the rubber, when it hits sand, yeah, it'll kind of slide easier, but as soon as it hits drier spots in the pavement or asphalt or concrete, it drags way harder. It's got more friction that you have to overcome. So it can be difficult sometimes using something like that, but you use what you have. So remember those other exercises that we were talking about. Suitcase deadlift is pretty static movement. Suitcase farmer walk is a little bit more dynamic, but it's only pulling on one side. So every time you take a step, you're having to use your extensors to keep your body squared up. And then when you're on the opposite foot, the weight's in my right hand, and I'm on my left foot walking forward, then I have to use my flexors more to keep my body squared up. So there's this interaction going back and forth. Then once you get to the side leverage lift, remember with the weight sticking out there, the weight's pulling down on this side, but I'm having to press on the opposite side. I would use each exercise, maybe alternate them and experiment with them for several months and see how they feel. And then once you get stronger with that, I would start working with the tire. And doing this exercise, I'm going to show you the offset, I don't even really know what to call it, the offset sled push, the offset sled push. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate it, and I'll show you how I'm going to do this. You want to keep yourself squared up, because with the weight dragging here, it's going to, on this hand, it's going to be like a fulcrum point. It's going to try to pivot like this. So you're going to have to keep this bar straight and parallel with your body or squared up, which means I'm going to have to pull with this hand, so it's going to put more pressure on this. So I'm pulling and pressing. So this is a really good exercise for a lot of other athletes, and as we already talked about. So let's take a quick look at it and get right into it. So if you have a bar that actually has a loop welded on here or something, you can run your strap through your eyelet or tie it on there somehow, and then, or with a shorter strap, you can connect one of your buckles to that D-ring and it won't slip off. I'm just going to put this like this, and then hopefully it won't slide off. And if I keep it squared up, I should be okay. So let's give it a go. So, as you can tell, I didn't reverse this. I didn't even try this before with this tire. It's just too much. The torquing that's occurring in your body and trying to resist that, and the anti-rotation is just tremendous. So I just grabbed a lot lighter tire. We'll see how it goes. There you go. That tire is probably too light. So as you can see, that exercise is way harder than it looks. It's even harder in some ways than the side leverage lift because it's more dynamic as you're walking with that weight and pushing against it. This is my little buddy Whiskey. He's a Chihuahua Chinese crested mix. He weighs about 7 pounds, and his brother I think he's coming out all right now. His name is Tequila. You may see them off and on in some of my videos. Anyways, when you try that exercise, you can use a kettlebell also. Kettlebell will work. Don't try to use too much weight. You want something lighter, and gradually work up your strength and your ability to do that exercise, and add weight slowly, because it is a tremendous amount of torquing that's going on in your body, especially as you're walking, because you're not in a bilateral stance anymore. Your stance is constantly changing as you're walking. So you're going to feel it even more so than perhaps a side leverage lift or a suitcase farmer's walk. It's a really tough exercise, and it can develop a really unique strength. It would be good for anybody who's in any form of any sport athlete who might be in competition with other people. And also for someone who maybe just wants to develop that oddball strength for recreational purposes. Maybe someone who's canoes or kayaks, or is involved in activities where their body's being loaded unevenly. It's an awesome exercise just from that aspect. So I'd give it a shot, really work it. So you've got various exercises here you could use. You've got the suitcase deadlift, the suitcase farmer's walk, you got the side leverage lift, and now you've got this exercise, the offset sled push. And I would just alternate through them, work through them. Sometimes you can combine several of them, in the week. Maybe one day a week you could do suitcase deadlifts and suitcase farmer walks kind of combination, and then 2-3 days later, 4 days later, maybe incorporate this exercise. And then after several months, swap one out for another. And that way you can get variety in there that you don't get from deadlifts, you don't get from bench presses or overhead presses. So this develops, strengthens your body kind of crosswise more, and also it helps strengthen your body during movement. Well, there you have it, the offset sled push. It's an awesome exercise. Like I said, you could use a kettlebell, just wrap the strap around the handle. And if you're dragging it in grass or dirt or sand, it's not going to really hurt it that much. Especially an old beast like this thing. I wouldn't worry about it. If you're on asphalt or concrete, I'd use a tire, or if you could afford it, I'd use a sled, make a sled. Um, Grass and dirt, a flat sled, metal sled works really good. All you need is just a flat sled with a pipe to put plates on, or even something you can put a bucket on and fill with rocks or sand or whatever. Some people use a wheelbarrow, um, metal part of the wheelbarrow, and clip onto that and use that without the wheels and the handles on it, of course. Or if you have a prowler, you could use that. Uh, uh, though it might not work as well on grass and dirt because it might have a tendency to dig in, but on asphalt or concrete, a prowler works really well. It's going to work better than a tire. It's going to slide better. It's not going to have a tendency to grip and grab and slip. You know, when you hit sand, the tire scoots really fast all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden it hits a dry spot and it can kind of catch you unaware. So you got to be really careful with that so you don't tweak yourself. And that's the important thing with doing these exercises like this one, the offset sled push, is you want to keep your body tight. You might try to do it, you know, with your arms way out like this, but you're going to have to really lock in tight. It may be easier to do it and lock yourself in this way and push like that, and that's what I found. I've played with this exercise before off and on, but I've never used my 90-pound tire like that and tried it that way with the offset handle. It makes it way more difficult. As you can see, I just did a little bit. Of course, you're going to want to adjust the distance. I was just walking a short distance to give you a short preview of that exercise, and I'll do that with a lot of exercises in these YouTube videos. You're going to notice that they're shorter, and I'm not going to give you a ton of detail. That's information that I'm actually going to share on a paid subscription site, and as soon as that's ready, I'll let people know. I'll let people know on my website, and I'll let people know through a YouTube video that you can go there, and I'll be showing way more exercises. I'll be sharing way more information, way more detail about different things and how I train, and things I've done over the years, and how I improvise, and even how I make my own equipment. I'll have videos in there on how to make your own equipment and improvise with different things. So, because I'll weld, I'll cut, I'll whatever I need to do to make myself the equipment that I want. So I'm going to be sharing all that stuff in that area. And as I said, as soon as that's ready, I'll let you know. So anyway, this is Walter, and I'll see you next week. And until then, have an awesome day.